Hi, it's Abby, and I'm here with the Badass Breastfeeders Weekly Letdown, Episode 1. And thanks to Emily Phillips for the idea for the title. Hopefully this is a weekly thing. When I first planned to do it, I planned on getting dressed and putting my makeup on and being all professional. And it's week 1 and I'm still not dressed. And so forget it. It's going to be like everything else is that has to do with a badass breastfeeder. Thank you, Exley. It'll be me flying by the seat of my pants, trying to get something done, and I won't have any makeup on and I won't be dressed. So the topic for this week is toddlers being polite. And this was, my thoughts around this came from a couple of weeks ago when my husband and I decided that Jack was being really rude. Like, everything he said was just really rude. You know, demanding and yelling and give me this and give me that, and he just was not being a very friendly guy. Right? I know. And so, what's the matter? So we decided that we were going to start, telling him, like, we're not going to get you this or help you or do whatever unless you can be friendly about it, unless you can be polite. So I'd say, he's like asking for help, he's asking for something, and we're like, well, no, we're not going to do that until you can be nice. Well, it escalated into him having meltdowns all the time and us just being more frustrated. And so I said, okay, wait, I need to take a deep breath and I need to reassess this whole situation. So I started thinking about, the whole premise of gentle parenting, which is understanding where children are developmentally and, meeting them there, meeting them where they're at, meeting their needs, in a way that's appropriate for their developmental stage. So I'm thinking, okay, well, Jack is going to be 4, and when he's being rude, he's upset, and I'm asking him to gather himself and to calm himself down and to ask me things politely, which is not even something that I can do very often. So now I'm asking this toddler to do this. And I think it's, toddlers don't have, their brain is not developed the way ours is. And they don't have the ability to control their emotions. This is where temper tantrums come from. They become flooded with emotion, overwhelmed, and it comes out in what we call a temper tantrum, which to them is complete, scary and overwhelming meltdown. So I'm like, okay, this is not going to work because we're asking him to do something that he's not really capable of doing. So, I also started thinking about, and that was enough for me, but then I also started thinking about, the other things that gentle parenting, things that you read might suggest, like when you say to your child, like when you, tell them, when you force them to say sorry or thank you or things like that, they say that they'll develop this habit of saying please and thank you and all of that and I'm sorry, but it won't be genuine because they're just being forced to do it and they're not really given the chance to learn why somebody actually does that. So, and again, this is all just my thoughts, you parent however you want to parent and how, everybody takes from these things, whatever works for them, and this was what was speaking to me that week when what we were doing with Jack wasn't working. So I so that developmental thing, as well as the kind of forcing him to do something that he's not even really clearly understanding why to do yet. So I said, okay, so this is what we'll do. We're not gonna make things conditional based on him being polite, because for us that just didn't make sense. And so we decided that we would still talk to him when he was being rude to us, what we considered rude. We would still be talking to him about being friendly. Friendly is the word that he uses. He uses, like, when I start to get frustrated, he's like, "Be friendly, mommy." So that's the word that so we use that word because that's what he relates to. So we talked to him about being friendly and why you would be friendly to your family and why you wouldn't, why people are friendly to each other and how it makes people feel when you're not friendly. And also, the big one was how someone's going to be like much more willing to do something that you want them to do when you are treating them in a friendly way. Because he's like yelling at us to do stuff when it's just like, I just straight up don't want to do that for you right now. So we would tell him, we're teaching him these things. Meanwhile, still, meeting the needs that we saw him having in those moments. And so some people might say, that I'm being manipulated by Jack, or that I'm practicing permissive parenting, or, that I'm raising a brat. And I just don't agree with that. I mean, I don't think that Jack is manipulating me. I don't think that he's really has a reason to do that right now. I don't think he's learned that. I don't think that he's, people tend to think that manipulation is this thing that's just like people are born with, and it's really not. It's something that kids do when their needs are not being met. They end up learning how to manipulate people in the world around them to get their needs met. So yeah, I mean, we haven't stopped teaching to him about that. I still think that being, friendly and kind to people is important. But we are, trying to connect with him and teach to him about this instead of making like meeting his needs conditional upon it. So, I think that's it. I really like the book on conditional parenting. There's a whole bunch of gentle parenting books on the website, on thebadassbreastfeeder.com. If you're interested in reading stuff that, kind of circles around my head. And really, I've read a few parenting books. It's not like I've read 50 and I think I'm an expert. I'm just trying, just trial and error here, just like anywhere else. So I think that's all. And let me know what you think. Post your comments and all of that. And, you guys always have me thinking about other things to talk about. So thanks for listening to this week's weekly letdown on toddlers being polite. And I'll talk to you later.